Hoi! Zooey mama! I hate loved any of that. That was the best, worst episode ever. I'm so happy infuriated by it. Ah, screw it, little pinwheel. How do I feel about this? Okay, is it gonna be that kind of video, is it? Doctor Who Series 12, Episode 10, The Timeless Children, is the finale to Series 12. And I was seriously anticipating this episode. This is the first time since I think Russell T Davies was writing the show that I've been really anticipating a series finale. Now, there will be spoilers ahead, so beware. If somebody told me during Series 11 of Doctor Who that Chris Chibnall would bring us an episode featuring the Master selling Gallifrey to the Cybermen, involving a bunch of previous new Doctors. Oh god, I'll leave it to you again, Pinwheel. What would I say? Yeah, that. So first of all, the positives. Honestly, I was quite impressed by how well Chris Chibnall, and I repeat, barely experienced, non-visionary sci-fi writer Chris Chibnall, was able to pull all the different plot threads set up by the previous episode together into a very cohesive narrative. For the most part, he landed it. It all kind of buckles under its own weight, or should I say runtime, in the third act, but the Master didn't feel like an afterthought, Gallifrey didn't feel like an afterthought, the Cybermen didn't feel like an afterthought, everything was moving very cohesively. So hats off, he pulled that rabbit out of that hat. But we're not out of the woods yet. The episode still has to be, good. So let's take a look at cliffhanger number 1. Yaz, Graham, and friends aboard the cyber ship with the many cyber warriors. The outcome is that they get into different cyber suits, scoop out the human remains, and escape disguised as Cybermen, leading to a rendezvous with Ryan. Right, so as for that resolution then, So remember my video essay about the Cybermen, I didn't like the fact that the Cybermen weren't really treated as ex-humans. I didn't like the fact that this was lacking in that tragic component with the big moral questions. Yeah, that problem really persists in this episode worse than it did before, with them happily and very easily getting into these cyber bodies without requiring any of the kind of augmentation. Like, it shouldn't be that simple, should it? Like, we've seen people have to get cut to bits to fit in these things. When it comes to Doctor Who, this is a story catalyst as old as time. We've seen it used in the original Dalek serial. We've seen it used again in The Witch is Familiar, both of which are Dalek stories. One of which from the 1960s, when this kind of stuff, well, you'd let it slide a little more. The other of which comes from a Moffat Dalek story. So, I mean, what the fuck would you expect, really? The Cybermen have definitely lost their sort of gruesome kind of a sensibility. But we also find out in this episode what Ashad, the lone Cyberman, means by ascension. And I'm pissed. I don't like it. Remember in my Cyberman video essay where I talked about how the Cybermen lose their X-Factor if they're just robots without people inside? Well, what he means by ascension is ascending into a purely artificial form. The Cybermen want to become purely robotic. Now then, the Master points out just how fucking ridiculous that is. But him pointing out how stupid that is doesn't change how stupid that is. Having Matt Smith in Asylum of the Daleks look up from his script and say, "God, this is terrible," wouldn't have fixed the episode. So the Master's got two goals on his mind, one of which is to sell Gallifrey to the Cybermen, the other of which is to show the Doctor what he discovered about the past of the Time Lords and why he chose to destroy Gallifrey. The episode really answers the question of why the Master wanted to destroy Gallifrey, but I have to ask, how did he destroy Gallifrey? How does one Time Lord destroy all those Time Lords? I think with everything else going on in the episode, though, I may be the only person in the entire world asking that question. So basically, the Master has uncovered the fallacy of all of Time Lord kind and Gallifrey's civilization. The Time Lords couldn't originally regenerate. An explorer from Gallifrey adopted a child that had the ability to regenerate her body when she died. The Gallifreyan's name was Tecteun, and she experimented on the child until she gained the ability to regenerate as well, bringing this to Gallifrey. The child was referred to as the Timeless Child, and from there all of Gallifreyan civilization was built from the research of that one child, with a law that the Gallifreyan Time Lords could only regenerate 12 or 13 times on average. The Timeless Child, however, was allowed to keep all of her regeneration cycles. The Timeless Child would one day regenerate into the Irish cop we saw in the previous episode who was invincible seemingly, and he would have all of his memories erased by other Time Lords, and that would regenerate into the First Doctor. So the Doctor is the catalyst for all of Gallifreyan society, the Time Lord's ability to regenerate, and the Doctor has been through however many regenerations before becoming that sexist David Bradley guy. Right, Pinwheel, how do I feel about this one? Huh, who'd have thunk it? You know what I don't like about this is it doesn't matter to me the whole the Doctor has had multiple regenerations prior to this one. I mean, that does open up more plot holes than it answers. Now, it does answer a plot hole. Who were all those Doctors in the brain of Morbius? We now have an answer to that. But then we revisit the Ruth Doctor, who takes place wherever. Now, if she is before the First Doctor, then why is her TARDIS a police box? Also, why did the Time Lords give the Doctor a new regeneration cycle at the end of Time of the Doctor? No regeneration limit was ever put on the Doctor. Was it all just theatrics so the Doctor would never catch on? Now, I don't actually mind the idea of the history of the Time Lords being built upon a fallacy. That's interesting stuff. I mean, the first season of Batman Telltale did that by asking the question of whether Wayne's parents were corrupt. I kinda like having stories where the past is pulled into question. But here's where my real problem is. Do you just hate when you pick up the phone and you say hello, and then the guy says hello back, but they don't say who they are or what they want, so you're just left with this big pause of like, hello? Total pet peeve of mine. But we have the fact that that fallacy is built also entirely upon the Doctor. Now, that makes the Doctor the most important person in Gallifreyan history. The entire society of Gallifrey is built based upon the Doctor. Oh god. This is like in The Amazing Spider-Man 2 when Richard Parker was all like, oh, you were destined to be bitten by the spider and only you could be Spider-Man. It's tying a knot that A, didn't need to be tied, and B, cheapens everything up until this point. Now, if the Master were the Timeless Child, it would be different. Or, well, at least better anyway. And upon all these revelations, the Master's just like, oh, Doctor, look how broken you are. You're so broken. You're destroyed. You are nothing like you thought you were. Therefore, you are worth nothing. You're over, Doctor. Your canon is completely broken. Your canon is destroyed, Doctor. Doctor Who is getting cancelled soon. The fandom menace has won. Yeah, they really weren't very subtle with the whole audience surrogate thing for the Master. So we have the Ruth Doctor return to tell the Doctor that you are more than your past. You know, has your past ever affected who you are today? Is their way of saying, you know, Doctor Who is more than its history. I kinda like that. And then we have the 13th Doctor confronting the Master being like, I'm not destroyed. I am actually more than you thought I was. And it's like, oh, I get it. The Doctor is the surrogate for Doctor Who as an entire show. So the Doctor is like a mouthpiece for Chris Chibnall, effectively saying, look, I'm the showrunner, I'm gonna do what I want, and there's nothing you can do about that. It's still Doctor Who at the end of the day. And the Master is the surrogate for angry fanboys, which is also really hilarious because we had him wear a Nazi uniform at the start of the series. Blatant metaphors 1, angry yellow text man 0. So when Ashad the lone Cyberman refuses to give the Master the death particle that sits within his little chest light bright, the Master uses shrinking device on him. And then the Cyberium is released and set inside the Master. But it doesn't stay that way long. And can I just say, that's a really great moment of Sacha Dhawan's acting, because he goes full Daffy Duck when that is happening. So then the Master reveals to the Doctor what he did with the bodies of the dead Gallifreyans. He's upgraded them and turned them into Cyber Masters, Cybermen that can regenerate, and maybe not the proudest moment for the design department. I actually really like their little frowny faces. It's just a reminder that these are dead people who have been violated. They still look emotionless, but their like sort of frowny mouths are just creepy looking. The rest of the body is basically your bog standard Cyberman design, but their heads have all this Gallifreyan scribe on them. They've got Gallifreyan collars instead of the earphones, and they've they've got capes on. Now, why is that? It looks silly. One positive thing I really had to say about the Chibnall era is aesthetically it gave a little bit of credibility back to Doctor Who, but this here is a misfire. So then Ryan, Yaz, Graham, and... what was the old sage's name? Let's just call him Jorgen. All venture into Gallifrey with the quest of finding the Doctor, which they do really, really quickly. Like, old Gallifreyan civilization, giant citadel, completely alien planet, but nope, it's fine, don't even need a map. This is my main issue with the episode above all, is the contrivances. Everything is just crazy simple in this episode. On a positive note though, I will say the Cybermasters kinda remedy my problem with the Cybermen in this and the previous story. Yeah, we know there's people in there now, and it's like this massively disrespectful thing that the Master has done in turning dead Time Lords into Cybermen. And you really feel the drama of that moment. Unless what they were actually going for was, oh god, we got Cybermen that can regenerate now, what do we do? In which case, okay, softens it a little bit, I guess. So the Doctor manages to escape using her memories and... Wait. Oh, that's nice. I wasn't expecting that. You had all that Doctor Who lore that you can use and everything, and I don't think anyone would have questioned it had he not shown up, but, oh, that's made my day. Thank you guys. I'm humbled and very, very grateful. So the Doctor prepares to send all of the companions home on a TARDIS that they found on Gallifrey using that really nice classic TARDIS set, and sets out to kill the Master and the Cybermasters. Chris Chibnall, man, is there any other word you want to stick the word Master on the end of? We get an awkwardly long stretch of time of the Master just going, come on, do it. Come on, do it. Do it, Doctor, do it. Do it, come on, do it. Come on, do it. And like, the Doctor is slowly but surely putting down the death particle. It's always one of those moments, it's a bit of a cliche now, where like the hero is going to kill the villain, but the villain basically makes a little speech, which causes the hero to kind of tap into their empathy a little bit. But here he's just literally just going, do it. And we're getting all these really emotional facial reactions from the 13th Doctor, and it's just like, What's triggering this? You could have literally just had the Master recite the Sillet Bang commercial and it would be the same. So Jorgen steps in and he's like, Doctor, this has always been my fight. Like, I've been fighting the Cybermen for a long time now. Why don't you go run along to another TARDIS? Your friends, your fam are all being sent home. Also, yeah, we get a little farewell between the Doctor and the fam, I guess, as I didn't mention earlier. Look, there's a lot to go over here, okay? Forgive me that some of this is not in order. Well, anyway, the Master and the Cybermasters are defeated. No word on the other Cybermen, though. Gallifrey is still destroyed. The cannon is... Actually, how's that cannon looking?
It's fucked!
Thank you. So the companions land and a TARDIS is just casually left on Earth. Meanwhile, the Doctor gets captured by the Jadoon and imprisoned, setting up the cliffhanger for the next one, with the Doctor yelling "what" repeatedly. And that, among a few other bits, is lifted straight from the 10th Doctor. Now, what people love about the 10th Doctor is that he really humanized the role of the Doctor. People could relate to him more than the typical space alien that the Doctor is, and that's why people love him so much. The 13th Doctor doesn't have that, but she just sometimes kind of says things the 10th Doctor would say, which means that the 13th Doctor still isn't there for me, I'm afraid. Sorry, fam, but the 13th Doctor just isn't doing it for me. Sacha Dhawan's Master, on the other hand, yeah, big thumbs up for him. The Ruth Doctor, again, big thumbs up. Other positives... I really like the Jadoon. I always like the Jadoon. Gallifrey was really well realized this time, and I'm really glad they left it destroyed. The visuals, as always, really, really great. I really like Segun Akinola's score. I think one's enjoyment of this episode is really going to pivot on whether you're willing to roll with the giant changes made to the show by this episode. I understand why people are really unhappy about this, and I'm gonna be real, I don't understand why people are leaping for joy over it, because, well, we don't know what the implications are yet. If the behavior of the show and its continuity is going to change from here on out, then that could be really, really interesting. But if it's just business as usual, then this whole thing was literally just fanfare for nothing. I mean, okay, we no longer have to worry about a regeneration limit for the Doctor anymore, but to be fair, we've already covered that. I don't mind new regenerations being in there. Heck, maybe this makes Peter Cushing canon now. And I don't mind them being before William Hartnell, as long as there's like some kind of explanation on why the TARDIS is a police box, if it's a police box, and if Ruth took place before William Hartnell. And I really do like that they had the balls to really go through with this. Like, Ruth's Doctor is exactly what was advertised in Fugitive of the Judoon. So, like, if things change from here on out, this could be a great launch pad for a whole new era of Doctor Who storytelling. But I need them to make good on that. What I don't like is the overall importance of the Doctor now in the grand scheme of things. That doesn't do it for me. Hang on a minute. Okay, another thing that's just entered my mind is, like, can the Doctor and the Master now, like, contact each other through the Force or something? Because I swear, at some point in this episode, they did that. Just a thought, just a little something that's in my head. So, the episode overall is it's a mixed bag, really. I'm kind of impressed by how good it is, all things considered. Now, I guess I understand why people are upset about this, so I'm gonna give a few words of comfort here. I'm not just gonna egg people on. Because this retroactively changes everything, right? Well, it doesn't have to. Now, hear me out. In 2010, Matt Smith's Doctor ignited a new Big Bang. He rebooted the universe. So whatever happens after Big Bang 2 doesn't necessarily have to affect what happened prior to that. Now, we do see all the previous Doctors when the 13th Doctor breaks out of the Matrix. So yes, those other Doctors do exist in this part of the continuity, but however, if you go back and rewatch any episode prior to that second Big Bang, for all we know, the continuity could be exactly as we knew it prior to this. This doesn't have to retroactively ruin everything. The other thing is, it might not stick. When the show came back in 2005, there were people that were not happy about the fact Gallifrey was destroyed in the Time War. Russell T Davies leaves, Stephen Moffat becomes the new showrunner, and he brings back Gallifrey. And there were people that were really unhappy about that. I, for one, was really, really unhappy about that change. Then Stephen Moffat leaves and Chris Chibnall comes on in his second series, he blows up Gallifrey again. So what Chris Chibnall has done here can be undone. It could all be lies, illusions, manipulation. These are time travelers at the end of the day. This could have all been orchestrated by the Master. At this point, though, Doctor Who is just gonna do what it's gonna do. So the best you can do is try and enjoy that. I mean, are you entertained by it? Because if you are, then just let whatever writer have their way with Doctor Who for a little bit. I mean, yeah, like, I would definitely rather have stuff like this than like what we had with Series 11. Like, I was entertained the whole way through, which is more than can be said for Series 11, even Series 11's better episodes. So overall, and I'm not factoring in ratings here because I really don't give a shit, overall, Series 12, for me, it was a pretty good success. I'm more positive leaving it than I am entering it, if you get me. I think Doctor Who leaves Series 12 in a better condition than it entered it. I'm concerned about things in the future, but I'm also excited about them. Oh, wait a minute, I was supposed to be angry, wasn't I? What do you mean my fan film from when I was 12 isn't canon? What do you guys think? Comment below and discuss, and as always, if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more like it, why don't you head over to channelpup.net, where we got a blog page called Dr. Blogtopus, but as well as that, you can also buy merch, such as this awful t-shirt. But if you want to be a part of the super fun Kennel Club, why not hit subscribe, hit the like button, and in the description below, you can check out the links to my Patreon and my Twitter. I think that would be pretty sweet for both of us. What do you say, champ? But in all seriousness now, thank you so much for watching, my fellow home dogs. Have a great day, because you and I both know you've earned it. I'll catch you next time. That's a cute outfit. Did your husband give it to you? Because you could get a way better costume from Zentai Zone. Check out their range of custom-made, tailored superhero costumes. Ridiculously good quality, value, and customization. Link is in the description below, as well as my coupon code CHANNELPUP, where you can get a discount off of your purchase. And while you're at it, why not get your suit designed by my talented buddy Dan from New Blood Dan's workshop? You can contact him via the link in the description below. Seriously guys, you do not want to miss out on your chance to be your favorite superhero and feel authentic and professional. And you don't want to miss out on that Channel Pup discount.